I stepped into the grand foyer of the bellwether auction house, the soft glow of the chandelier above casting a warm light on the polished marble floor. The sound of muted conversations and the clinking of glasses filled the air, accompanied by the sweet scent of freshly baked canapés wafting from the kitchen. As I made my way through the crowd, the feeling of fine silk and tailored suits brushed against my skin, a reminder of the elegance and sophistication that this place embodied. My eyes scanned the room, searching for a familiar face, and soon landed on my mentor, Reginald, standing by the bar, sipping a glass of scotch. He was a man in his late 60s, with a commanding presence and a sharp mind, who had taught me everything I knew about the art of negotiation and the value of patience. For years, I had worked under Reginald's guidance, learning the ins and outs of the business world, and eventually, I had become a force to be reckoned with in my own right. However, Reginald had always treated me like a subordinate, never quite acknowledging my true potential. He would often belittle my ideas and make me feel like I was nothing more than a mere apprentice. The memories of those humiliating moments still lingered, but I had never let them get the better of me. Instead, I had chosen to keep a low profile, observing and learning from Reginald's actions, all the while secretly building my own empire. As I approached Reginald, he looked up, a hint of surprise in his eyes, followed by a condescending smile. "Well, look what we have here," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "The prodigy has decided to make an appearance. I didn't think you'd have the guts to show up to this auction." He raised his glass in a mock toast. "To the little apprentice, who still has so much to learn." I smiled politely, my eyes never leaving his face. "Reginald, always a pleasure," I replied, my voice calm and even. "I see you're still as charming as ever." The conversation that followed was stilted, with Reginald making snide comments about my clothes and my lack of experience. I listened attentively, my expression neutral, as I had done countless times before. But this time, I knew that the tables were about to turn. The auction was about to begin, and Reginald's prized asset, a rare gemstone, was up for sale. I had been the anonymous buyer who had purchased the gemstone, and I was planning to reveal myself at the auction house. Reginald had no idea that his former apprentice was now the owner of his most treasured possession. As the auctioneer took the stage, I felt a sense of anticipation building up inside me. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the moment when Reginald would finally realize that I was more than just a subordinate. The bidding began, and Reginald's eyes sparkled with excitement as he watched the prices soar. But I remained calm, my expression unreadable, as I waited for the perfect moment to strike. The air was thick with tension, and the crowd was on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who would emerge victorious. And then, just as the bidding was about to close, I made my move, my voice ringing out across the room. "I'll give you $1 million for the gemstone." The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to me, as Reginald's face turned red with rage. If you've ever been underestimated by people who thought they had all the power, hit subscribe right now. Drop a comment below, what would you have done? And smash that like button because what happens next will change everything. The auctioneer's voice cut through the silence, going once, going twice, sold to the gentleman in the back for $1 million. As the crowd erupted into applause, Reginald's eyes locked onto mine, a mix of shock and fury burning in their depths. He pushed his way through the crowd, his face purpling with anger. "You," he spat, his voice low and menacing. "You're the one who's been bidding against me. How did you?" He trailed off, his eyes widening as the truth dawned on him. "You're the anonymous buyer," he whispered, his voice trembling with rage. I smiled, a calm, composed smile, as I pulled out a small folder from my pocket and handed it to Reginald. "I think you'll find that I'm more than just the anonymous buyer," I said, my voice even. "I'm the new owner of your prized asset, and I've been watching you for a long time, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal myself." Reginald's eyes scanned the documents, his face growing paler by the second. "You can't do this," he whispered, his voice cracking. "This is mine, I. He trailed off, his words lost in the sound of his own desperation. As the reality of the situation sunk in, Reginald's world began to collapse around him. He stumbled backward, his eyes fixed on me, as if searching for a way to undo the damage. But it was too late, the deed was done, and I had emerged victorious. I felt a sense of satisfaction, but not triumph, as I watched Reginald's empire crumble. You should have treated me with more respect, I said, my voice low and even. You should have seen me for who I truly am, not just a subordinate, but a force to be reckoned with. The words hung in the air, a devastating one-liner that reframed everything. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity, as Reginald's financial empire began to crumble. His business partners abandoned him, his creditors came knocking, and his reputation was left in tatters. I watched from the sidelines, a sense of detachment washing over me, as I realized that I had been waiting for this moment for a long time. The person who mattered most to me, my girlfriend, Sarah, had always known about my plan, and she had stood by me throughout the entire ordeal. I'm proud of you, she said, her voice filled with emotion, as we sat together in our living room, watching the news of Reginald's downfall. You deserve to take him down, after everything he put you through. As the dust settled, Reginald reached out to me, his voice laced with desperation. Please, you have to listen to me, he begged. I'll do anything, just don't ruin me completely. I listened to his words, my expression neutral, as I weighed my options. I could destroy him completely, or I could offer him a way out. In the end, I decided on the latter, not out of mercy, but out of a sense of justice. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself, I said, my voice firm. But you have to earn it. You have to prove to me that you're willing to change, to treat people with respect and dignity. Reginald's voice was filled with gratitude, as he agreed to my terms, but I knew that this was only the beginning. As I walked away from the auction house, I felt a sense of closure, but also a sense of uncertainty. I had taken down Reginald, but I had also opened myself up to a new world of possibilities. I thought about the future, about the choices I would make, and the consequences that would follow. The city streets were bustling with activity, the sounds of cars and people filling the air. As I disappeared into the crowd, my mind racing with thoughts of what was to come. And then, just as I was about to turn the corner, I heard a faint whisper in my ear, "This isn't over yet." I spun around, but there was no one there, just the sound of my own heartbeat, and the feeling that this was only the beginning of a new chapter in my life.